Hello. So in this lab, we will be analyzing the security of a web application using the tool Vega. So Vega is a web application scanner and testing platform. It can have multiple features. That is, it can be used to perform a vulnerability scanner and can be used as a web proxy and has ability to intercept, modify and replay requests. That is, we can modify the content of a request in the course of transfer from a browser to the server. Also, we will see various advantages of Vega over other tools like we have seen in previously Nikto, which is a terminal-based tool. That is, we run Nikto on terminal base, but this tool is more based on the web interface. One more advantage of Vega over Nikto is that it is a web interface and give more information about a vulnerability scan and vulnerability it find and uh, give us the link where vulnerability is find out and all the solution and remedies that we can use to bypass this vulnerability. And then we also see that it has one more advantage over Nikto is that uh, as Nikto identify itself as the source of HTTP request, that is, web server can identify that this request is sent by Nikto. But in the case of Vega, Vega does not provide any information that a scan has been performed by Vega or not. So it hides that operation. It hides that information and does not give any clue that the scan was performed by Vega or not. And we can analyze all this by using the Wireshark, which we have done earlier also. So these are the purposes for which Vega is used. So our scenario is that we have three web target which we will be targeting for security purposes to ensure that these target are secure or not. So first one is this one, Joomla target, and then custom target, and then BWF target. So the objective of this lab was first to run a default scan. So first we will get familiar with the purposes for which Vega is used. That is, first for scanner perspective, and then we will look for its proxy interface. Then we will run a default scan and analyze the result by using Wireshark. That is what Vega is performing and what Vega is doing to get the information that we will analyze using Wireshark. Then we will scan with only injection module as Vega provide us this ability to perform scan only with specific module. So first we will scan with only injection module. So it will look only for vulnerability related to injection, and then we will scan with response processing module and look for any vulnerability if present in the web server. Then we will scan with email module, so look for any email present in the server. Then we will use Vega interactively, and that is, we will use Vega as a proxy and intercept and modify the request that is sent by us to the server. That is, we will inject some malicious code in the request which is given here in the HTTP URL, and send the malicious request to the user to get the information or retrieve information from the server. So these are our objective for this lab. So if we summarize what we will learn in this lab in 30 seconds is that first we will see that we can use Vega to find all the vulnerability in a web application, or we can also see specific vulnerability by using the modules. So there are various modules present in Vega, so we will get only specific vulnerability related to that web server. Secondly, we will use Vega as a proxy and intercept and modify the request sent by us to the web server and inject some malicious code to get some data from the web server. So these are our objective in 30 seconds that we will achieve after performing this lab. So we have started our Vega and can see its two interface. This is scanner interface, and we can start from here top left, and just after that to stop the scanner we can stop from this button, and here we can see all the alerts of the scan that we have done. and in the proxy interface, again in the top left, we can start our proxy from here, and from here we can stop and can see all the request and intercept the request and modify the content in this interface. So we will be performing our first scan. So first first of all we will start Wireshark so that we can analyze our scan and interpret what Vega is doing to perform the scan. So we will click on Ethernet 0 and start capturing all the packets. Now Wireshark will capture all the packets. Now we will go back to Vega and start a scan and specify the target against which we have to perform scan. So in the first case we will not be specifying uh, uh, any options or any specific module to look for any vulnerability, so it will give us all the vulnerability present in that web server. So if we have to modify some changes or to get some specific vulnerability, then we can click on next and provide that vulnerability. Otherwise we will which we will do in the future course of this lab, but for now we will not be specifying any particular vulnerability, so we will directly click on finish. And it will start here, it will start finding all the vulnerability present in that web server. So here we can see that this scan will take some time to filter out all the vulnerabilities in the web application. In the later part we will see that how to do this scan fast and look for only specific module. So we have get some 33 out of 194 scans, so we will stop it here for the discussion purposes. So we have stopped the here, and we can see here all the summary, and we have performed our first task. So we can see the alerts scan summary that we have performed on the specific URL. So 23 high vulnerabilities found, 17 medium, 36 low, and info 154. So these are the scan operation that we have done. So we can see it from here in the top in the scan alerts, and it is shown high, and we can see that SQL injection. So we can filter out according to the level of security level of alerts, like high alert, medium alert vulnerability, low alert vulnerability, and drill down means according to our need. We can look at the vulnerability according to our need. And here we can see that if we click on any vulnerability like SQL injection, that it then it give all the information regarding that where it is present at a glance, and request, in which request this vulnerability can be present, and resource content, discussion, impact, what is the impact of this vulnerability remediation, and references, uh, some additional references related to this vulnerability. So this is the power of Vega, and this is the main feature of Vega that it provide, that wealth of information it provide along with its scan information. Means along with scan it provide a lot of information related to that vulnerability that is present in the scan. Like for we have seen for high, we can also see for various security levels, like for medium, index.htp, index.php, and same format here, discussion, impact, and remediation for this type of vulnerability, and some references related to that. So this vulnerability is related to some information leakage, as some information is leaked during this vulnerability. So we can get all this in the Vega scan, and here we can get some information related to scan. We perform HTTP error and news feed detected. So all this we can explore from here. So now we will inspect what Vega has done to get this information from the web server. So first we will go to Wireshark and stop Wireshark from here, and then we will set the HTTP request method get. That is what request has been sent by the our web Vega to that web server to get information from them, and click enter. So we get lot of HTTP requests that is being sent by Vega, which is similar to what Nikto has done. It also sent various HTTP requests to the web server to get information about the web server and some vulnerability that is present. So let's say if we click on any HTTP GET request sent by the Vega and follow TCP stream, then we can see here that Vega only specify user agent. It doesn't specify any information regarding it, that it is this request is being sent by Vega or any agent true or none. So which is being sent by our Nikto scanner. So this information is kept hide. So this is written over here also. Vega does not advertise itself via user agent header. It requests volume, make it not a still this scanner, means it doesn't provide any information that and hide this information. So it is difficult to interpret from where is there a scan performed by a Vega or not. So we have look at how Vega performed the scan and how we can get various security level of vulnerabilities and look at a specific vulnerability and all the information related to that in a Vega default scan. Now that we have run our default scan, that is this one, now we will go to our second objective, which is to run scan with only injection module. That is to perform a scan with only specific module so that scan can be fast and we get only that type of vulnerability presented at web server. So we will change IP to the next our next target, which is 103, and now we will not click on finish and click on next. So here we can see that there are two module present, injection module and response processing module. So in response processing module there are various type of vulnerability. We can also look only for specific vulnerability by clicking on that vulnerability, and similarly in injection module we can see where in various injection module vulnerabilities. So for this case we will only be looking for injection module vulnerability. So we click on response processing module to deselect all the vulnerability and double click on injection module to select all the vulnerability present in the injection module. So all the vulnerability in injection module will be selected. Now the Vega will only look for vulnerability related to injection. So now we will click on finish. So it is performing the scan, 0 out of 5 scan. So this scan will be fast as compared to the previous one, as there we see 1 out of 11 scan is not present. There around 32 out of 180 scan is present, so which will be slow as compared to this, but this will be fast and will be completed in some course of seconds. So it will take only a minute to complete. So now we can see that it performed the scan within some few minutes, and we can see it here in the bottom left, scan alerts. So one more advantage of Vega is that it doesn't delete the previous scan we have done, and we can look for the scan report like high level which we have performed earlier. So it doesn't delete that summary. Now we have performed only SQL injection scan. So we will look only for that type of vulnerability. Like it find 8 high vulnerability related to injection attacks. So let's look at a cross-site scripting vulnerability. So if we click on this and login.php, so it discuss all the information related to login.php vulnerability, its impact, remediation, and references, and it is also used in transfer.php. So we can see that it is more easy to understand and relate in this type of interface as compared to terminal interface, which we have done in the case of Nicto tool, and it provide more specific information as compared to Nicto tool about a specific vulnerability and its impact and remediation. So we have performed a vulnerability scan for a specific module, like here only for injection module, which is helpful for finding a specific vulnerability related to a web server. So now we will look for some vulnerability related to response processing module. That is, we will provide some response using a web browser and some login page, and the Vega will look for vulnerability related to that. So first of all, we have to go to proxy tab and start. So before starting, we also know that after starting this, we have to set our browser to set Vega as a HTTP proxy at this IP and port. This similar thing we have done with Nicto in the web browser in the previous lab. So the same thing we are doing here to set HTTP proxy at 120 at IP 127.0.0.1 and port this. So we will start our Vega from here and then go to the Firefox. So first of all, we will set Vega as a HTTP proxy so that it can intercept all the requests sent by browser to the web server. So first the request will be sent to Vega and then it will forward it to the web browser. So we'll go to preferences, advanced, network settings, similar, and here click on manual proxy configuration and provide the HTTP proxy, which is 127.0.0.1, and specify the port 8888 on which Vega is running, and click on OK. Now now Vega is set up as a proxy, so it can intercept all the requests. Now we'll go to that website. Now when we enter our credential here, this information will also go to Vega as it is acting as a web proxy. So when we click on login here, now we can see this request in Vega and perform analysis, security analysis here. Now first of all, we will stop our proxy and go to Vega scanner. Now first of all, we will create an identity. So why we are creating identity here? So that this information related to the username and password will be stored in Vega, and a vulnerability scan can be done on a website which require login credentials and passwords. So Vega will go deep into that website and look for any vulnerability present in that. So for that, we will have to specify the login credential and passwords that are present here. So we click on this uh, bottom right identity icon and add identity from here, create identity, and specify the identity name which is given here. Create identity icon and name the identity BW app, which is the website we have visited, and authentication type to macro. Now this macro is used with sites that have login forms. So we have to store the information related to the username and password in Vega So that's why we have used here macro, and click on next. Here we will click on create macro and add item here. So we will add bwapp login.php, the request sent by proxy by just, so it will be at the end as it is our latest request. So bwapp login.php with the status code 302. So we will click on OK. So we have added our login. Now when we click on OK, our login credentials that we have provided will be saved in the Vega. So it will, while performing the attack, which we will do later in this lab, uh, this login credential can be used to perform that attack on a deep node. So we have click on OK. So we have added item and specify macro name also, which is bwapp, and click on OK. And then click on the request. It is when like so here we can see that our information parameters that we have provided are saved here: login, b, and password bug, so which will be used by Vega to send the HTTP request. Then we will click on OK. Okay. So we can see over here that this include the username and password we have used. This authentication macro is basically telling Vega to use the same login technique we use this. So we have provided all this, and we will click on OK, which we have done, and then we will click on finish. So now Vega has added this macro, and then we will perform a scan using these credentials so that Vega can look for more information. As in the response processing module, this scan is used for websites which have login forms, so that Vega can look deep into that website. So we have provided this as the base URL, and then click on next. Now we will deselect injection module and double click on response processing module to select all vulnerabilities in response processing module and look for that. Then we will click on next. So identify to scan site as, so here we specify bwapp. So it will take all the login credentials from here. Now here they also specify that we can provide our credential or paste cookie here also. So it is same method that we have set and created identity earlier, or we can specify cookie here, so it can take cookie value from here and scan our result. Now we will perform a scan and click on finish. So this is the same. You will be prompted whether to add login.php to the scan scope. So we will click on yes, add login.php. So it will scan for all the vulnerabilities present in that. So here we can see that the scan is completed and it has categorized all the vulnerability present in that web server, which we can see from here. So our fourth task is also achieved. So it has categorized according to type of vulnerability, session cookie without HTTP. So we can look into all these low type of vulnerabilities which are present, form password field directly listing, BWF images. So these all vulnerabilities and their impact and remediation will be provided by Vega, which is very useful. So we have seen previously that how to uh, how to scan with only injection module, and now we have seen how to scan with response processing module. That is a website which requires some responses from a user, like a login page or credential, and how we save that credential by creating an identity, or the same thing we can do by providing a cookie to that website. So our so let us first summarize what we have done. First, we have done a default scan, uh, in which we have find out all the vulnerability and analyze our result using the Wireshark. Then we find all vulnerability related to injection. Then we have used only response processing module and created a identity to save our login credential and perform attack. Now our next objective is to scan with email module only. That is, we will look only for specific emails or some emails that are present in the trash. So for this also we will go to start scan, and here specify some different target. Let's say 103 and click on next. As in this case, we doesn't have to provide any module. We will look only for a specific vulnerability which is under response processing module. We have to select only email finder module. That is, it will look for all the email or some spam email which is stored in that web server, which can be useful for us. So we will scroll to the bottom and select only this vulnerability. So it will look only for this vulnerability and find any email that may be present and can be helpful for us. So all the other vulnerabilities are deselected. So it will just a few seconds scan. So Vega provides us this opportunity to look only for specific vulnerability also, which is very fast. So we will click on finish, as we have only scanned for a specific vulnerability. So it is shown under low. It is only one vulnerability, so showing low one found, and we have achieved our next perspective also. So when we go to this scan alert tab and look for the results, we get low email address found, and we can see here that vega@example.com. This email address is find out by the Vega, which is under the post login.php. Password was this, token was this, submit login, and this all the information related to the discussion about this vulnerability and impact of this vulnerability. Email address exposed to the internet will be scrapped by spam bots and edit. Email address can be used in targeted and phishing attack. Email address could be used to more accurately guess application username, as we have seen that. So this type of scan can be used by we can use these types of scan to analyze the security of a web application. So our next target would be to use Vega as a proxy and intercept and modify the request sent by Vega. So until now we have only scanned for vulnerabilities using the Vega. So our last objective is to use Vega as an web proxy and intercept and modify the request sent by a web browser. So for this we will click on first of all proxy tab and click on green play button. Now all the requests are being sent to the Vega first of all. Now we will go to the web browser and go to this web application, and here choose your bug. We will click on SQL injection, get search, and click on hack. Now for this interface provides us an interface to search a movie, and it will give us the result of all the movies present in its database. Like we have searched for Spider-Man, so it will look into its database and here it has found that the amazing Spider-Man. So until now, the Vega is being used only to see the content of the request sent by the browser to that web server. But now it will intercept the request. That is, only when we click on forward request here in Vega, then only the request sent by the browser to the web server will be forwarded until until it is not forwarded. Means if we have not clicked on the forward button, the request is not sent to the web server. So we will click on intercept and click on the blue bar. So now the intercept is on and we will intercept for all transaction. That is, it will intercept the web browser for all transaction until it is forwarded by us. So we will click on create. Now all transaction. Okay. Then we will click on create, and now intercept is on, and it is showing until now there is no request pending. Now we will send some request from the web browser. So we will go to Firefox and generate a request like we will search for the movie ABC. Now this request will be sent to our web proxy. So it will not load from here until it is forwarded by our web proxy. So it is showing only connecting because it is not until forwarded by the web proxy. So we will go to our Vega, which is acting as a proxy, and it is here we will modify the request. Here we can see that get app php title equal to abc. Now we will replace this title abc with some malicious code which is provided in this lab in injection.txt file. So we will open that and copy this text from here. Copy. So here we are modifying the request sent by our web browser. So Vega can also be used for this purpose, and we have pasted that request here. So we can see that what this code is representing, that percentage 27 is showing that it is escape character, means all the text or SQL commands written before it will be ignored, and from here on new command will be shown, and percentage 20 in this request is showing that it is a space character. So this command is for union select 1 2 3 4 table name 6 7 information table from table schema, means it will provide all the information about the table information and the content present in that web server. So now we will click on green play button here. So it will forward this request. It is showing forward transaction. Now this request will be forwarded from the Vega. Now we can see this information here in our web browser. 2 minutes. Yes, so we click on here and we can see that all the detail related to the table is present here. When we click on intercept, forward the request. So here we can see an interesting table user. So we can get more information about this table by sending another request. So we will send another search request, but this time replace our string with the this provided value to get some information from this table, to get information about the user present in this table. So we'll send another any request abc, and this request will come here in Vega, which we can see that ABC. Now we will replace this ABC with the second code provided, which is similar to first one, percentage 27 escape other things. And copy and paste here. So what this code is doing, it is removing percentage 20 is used for space. Now this code will be as and 1 equal to 0 union all select one login password secret email admin 7 from the user. Means from table user you have to select all the login password credential and username of all the user which are present in the database. So we will forward this request also. So now this request is forwarded by web proxy and we have achieved our last objective also. So when we go to web browser, we'll see all the information of the user. This is user B with this admin password, this email ID and some other information which is being sent by the which is being requested by us. So here we have seen all the information related to the user. So we see how Vega can be used as a web proxy to intercept any request and modify the content. Similarly, Vega can also be used to replay the request. That is, it can save any request that is sent. For example, click on history and see any request which is being specified here. This tool will also allow for replaying specific requests so result can be evaluated more easily. That is, we can replay request after some time and request some information from the web server later. So this is for this lab. So we can summarize this lab in this lab that first we have performed the default scan again against the website and get all the information about the all the vulnerabilities present in the website in brief format. Uh, and analyze our result with the Wireshark. Then we perform a scan with only injection module. So we get only vulnerability related to injection. And then we perform the scan against this post processing module, that is which require login credential. So we have saved our login credential here and perform a scan for response processing module. Then we perform a scan with email module only to find any email present in that. Then we use Vega interactively to intercept the request and forward the request only when we click on forward. And there we also modify our request with the code provided here. So first we will get all the table present in the database. Then we find a very useful table users and get all the information of the users present in that user table by using this command if 1 equal to 0 union all select all the information from the user table. So these are the purposes for which Vega is used. So if we have to summarize Vega in 30 seconds, we can see that Vega can be used to find all the information related to specific vulnerabilities and their impact and remediation for a web server. And Vega can also be used to intercept and modify the request and can act as a web proxy. So this is all for this lab. Thank you.